If we can hold this line, there is very little resistance between here and... All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk to you about an EV company that is also a solar company that I think is in the middle of a breakout. And they're having a pullback today, and I think there's going to be a really good buying opportunity. I'm buying in. Again, this is not financial advice, but let me show you guys what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking about. So the company's name is BEEM Global. Stock ticker is BEEM. If you want more details about what this company does, I've done a few videos on this explaining in detail. So I'm just going to do a 30-second wrap up here. This device right here, it sits in one parking space, and you can pull up, park here, and it's got a charging station. I think it reaches up to 9 to 12 parking spots away, and you can charge multiple vehicles at a time. So a lot of their customers so far have been local, state, and federal government. I also suspect a lot of their customers are going to end up being colleges and universities and large corporations that have massive campuses, because these are perfect for commuters to just drive to work, plug their car in, and go. Down here, they say BEEM's 100% sustainable EV charging solutions are the most rapidly deployed EV charging stations in the world. These are 100% off the grid, which is another thing that's very appealing about them. So you'll see it says zero construction, zero electrical work, zero utility bill, zero permits. They essentially roll it up and park it. So I'm just going to run down a list of a few of their press releases, and then I want to look at one in specific. So just so that you can see who their customer base is. Leon County Sheriff's Office deploys BEEM Global EV ARC. October 28th, BEEM Global added to the CAL EVIP incentive program. So this is a large program funded by the state of California to encourage electric vehicle charging infrastructure. So they have been added and approved to that list. They have all of their machines, I believe, are now approved to be a part of this program. So that will only reinforce, essentially, this will be a subsidy for businesses and municipalities to use, get these charging stations. And again, this is a very fast solution. You order them, you buy them, they park them, they're up and running in 4 minutes. BEEM Global receives first U.S. Marine Corps order for EV ARC. 14 bases. So you can see if I click into this, it was actually an order for 21 units. So 21 here, 15 there, and we're still in October. So you can see business is picking up. Now I want to go through this press release in a little more detail. This was on October 12th, 2021. BEEM Global announces record contracted backlog of more than $7 million and pipeline of more than $75 million. So later, when you look at their financial statements, I will put that in perspective. These numbers are gigantic compared to their activity in the past. Let's just go through a few highlights of this. BEEM announced that it has a current backlog of purchase orders for EV ARC and other proprietary products totaling more than $7 million. This is a historically high level of contracted backlog for the company and represents near-term future revenue, which is greater than any prior full year. So their current backlog is bigger than any year's worth of revenue that they've ever had. So this is a high growth company. We'll look at that more later. The company's sales pipeline has also grown from $50 million at the end of the second quarter to more than $75 million at the end of the third quarter, representing a material acceleration of pipeline growth, which is also at historically high levels. Here the CEO says, it took 10 years for us to get a pipeline of $50 million and just one more quarter to get over $75 million. So you can see they have ramped up their business in a major way in the last quarter. Next, let's look at their income statement from last year so that we can put these numbers into perspective and you can see just how much growth this is. Okay, so this is their 10K from the year ended December 31st, 2020. So it's comparative. It's got 2020 here. It's got 2019 here. So in 2019, their entire revenue for the year was $5.1 million. In 2020, their entire revenue for the year was $6.2 million. So they just got through saying their backlog is over $7 million. So that's more backlog than they had in sales all year last year. So this is a page on their website right here. Lead the world to clean mobility. So if we look through the press releases, it looks like this is maybe mostly a California thing, but you will see this says they're in 96 different U.S. cities, in 13 different U.S. states, and in 121 different countries. They have a giant potential market that they are addressing. And again, this is not to compete with traditional EV stations. This is to supplement them. So, in my opinion, there's a massive demand for this, not just in the United States, but around the world. So, if they can capitalize on that, their growth rate can be serious. So let's look at that next. So this is from Yahoo Finance. For the year ended 2021, which is the current year, there's 6 analysts covering revenue, and the average estimate for them is $10.6 million. So we saw that last year they did $6.2 million. That would be a 71% increase in revenue. Now we know they have $7 million in backlog that they just said, so this could be a very realistic number. However, they have $75 million in their pipeline. So 5 analysts have now projected the year 2022's revenue. So that's next year's revenue. And the average analyst is at $22 million. So even if they hit this $22 million, that will be a growth rate of 108%. So you've got a company with a compound annual growth rate here over a few years that's between 80 and 100%. And that could continue because with just their pipeline of $75 million, it would be easy to see them hit this number or beat this number and then substantially beat it again in the year after that. If these guys can, what I call reach critical mass, if they can get their name out there, and it seems like they're well on the way to doing this, this could be a massive, massive growth stock. So there's just 2 or 3 other things I want to talk about. So first, let's look at market cap. So right now, BEEM is down about 5.5% on the day, and we will look at the chart later. But that leaves them with a market cap of $293 million. So this is a small company right now. Especially, this is an EV/solar company. So this is a very low market cap, all things considered. So considering that low market cap, I also want to show you they have 8.9 million shares outstanding. They have 8 million shares in the float. So there's very few shares of this available. And as of October 15th, they're reporting that 2.72 million shares are currently shorted. So that is a short percent of float of almost 35%. So this is one of the most shorted stocks in the stock market. Their number of outstanding shares is very small at 8 million. Their market cap is very small at under 300 million, and their growth rate is astronomical. So if they can put 1 or 2 quarters together of proving this sales model, then I think this stock is set up both to be an excellent buy and hold, as well as this could very well be a short squeeze. This is just set up to squeeze better than anything that I've ever seen. It's one of the top 5 most shorted stocks in the market, and there's only 8 million shares in the float in total. So, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know that it'll get a short squeeze, but you guys do the math. This is set up nicely for that. That's not why I'm in BEEM, although it would be a very nice bonus if there was a short squeeze of some sort, which, just looking at the numbers, this seems more likely than not to have a short squeeze at some point. So that brings us to the chart. Let's go to the chart and take a look at what they're doing and why I think there's currently an opportunity right now for it to take a nice run. Okay, so I'm zoomed in a little bit on BEEM, and the reason for that is I did a video for this on October 11th, 2021. So this is this blue line. And so, we were in the $26 range at that time. And I wanted to show you a quick clip from what I said in that video. We're pretty reliably trading like this. So, as a potential swing trade, we could be headed back up to 31. Okay, so you can see in reality, it actually has played out this way. So if we look from here, it did go up, and this was a nice swing trade. It bounced right off of this $31 resistance, went back down, and hit this line of resistance again, only this time it went through. So here on October 28th, which was last Thursday, it went above this line of resistance. This has been a pretty significant line of resistance dating back to, July. So this is the first breakthrough that has had several days where it's closed above this line of resistance. So I believe we've turned this resistance into support. So just to show you, from my last video down here where it was around 26 to where it is right now, that would be a 26% run. And to where it was just yesterday, that would be a 35% run up. So it's had a very nice run in the last few weeks. It's had a a very good couple of swing trade opportunities in the last few weeks. But now I think it's entering a different phase. I think we've now turned resistance into support. And you can see today is a down day, which is why I think there's an opportunity here. But even on this down day, we really didn't get anywhere near this $31 line. We're down 5 or 6% today, but that's leaving us in the low to mid 32s. So I think we're establishing a new range here. Beam hit $40 back on June 29th. So that was its most recent peak, and since then it has not gotten anywhere near there. It went straight down and pretty much went under this $31 line, and you can see that $31 line, like we just discussed, has held up as resistance ever since. That's all of July, August, September, and October. So it looks like we've now broken above. So in my opinion, if we can hold this line, there is very little resistance between here and the $40 mark, and it's really $41. So you'll see, since we hit 40 the last time, there's all this absolute empty space in the middle. So there's really not much resistance. The only point that we would have talked about maybe as resistance and support, we're already at right now. We tested yesterday, which was around $34.50, which is why I believe there's an opportunity right now to bounce off of 31. My investing strategy, and again, this is not financial advice. You guys need to go through and see what makes sense for you. But the way I'm playing this is, if this can hold above $31, I think it takes a run up to $41 in the short term. So that's the opportunity that I'm seeing in Beam. This looks like a good company to me. For me, this is a buy and hold, but I do also think there's a short-term opportunity to have a nice run-up. So those are my thoughts on Beam. You can check out my last Beam video if you want as well. I get into further detail. And so please do me a favor, and if you liked this video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel so you can get more content like this. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.